Speaker placement may be one of the most important factors in getting good sound. So here is what I did to my system. So I started off with this empty room, and there were not a lot of possibilities I could consider. It could not be the staircase and it could not be the kitchen. So the only choice left was, where is the system going and where will I be sitting on this side of the room? I chose the side with the little recess so I could place my equipment rack over there, and I'll tell you more on this later. Now I believe that at least 50% of what you hear when you are sitting in your listening position is caused by the acoustics of the room. So leaving the room untreated or having tiles on the floor was not an option for me. It had to be carpet. Another thing I found out throughout the years is that placing a lot of equipment between the loudspeakers can damage a good three-dimensional stereo image. So instead of placing my big equipment rack between the loudspeakers, I like to place my equipment on the side. Now I do have my smaller equipment rack between the loudspeakers, and that's for two reasons. One, if you need to choose between longer loudspeaker cables or longer interconnects between the preamp and the power amps, I prefer shorter loudspeaker cables, so I placed my mono amps between my loudspeakers. The second reason is, even though I would prefer no rack between my loudspeakers, keeping the rack as low as possible is an acceptable compromise. The next step in most systems is to place the loudspeakers on the side of the rack, like this. Now I did not do that because the distance from the listening position to the loudspeakers was too much for me. And the farther away you sit from your loudspeakers, the more your sound will be affected by the acoustics of the room, so closer is better. Another problem was that because of the strange layout of my room and the building materials that were used, the bass was terrible when I placed the loudspeakers so close to the back wall. And if you look at the right loudspeaker, you can see it is very much closed in between all my equipment, and especially having a vibration source, my loudspeakers, so close to the equipment is not a preferred solution for me. Especially I wanted to get the loudspeaker as far away as possible from the turntable. Now after a lot of experimenting, I found the perfect spot for these loudspeakers in this specific room. And in another video I will explain how to find the best spot for your loudspeakers. Now probably in most cases you would not place your loudspeakers so far away from the back wall. Especially bass may suffer, however, having so much room around the loudspeakers does improve imaging. And this will help with the 3D stereo image you want to create. And the last thing I want to explain is why the loudspeakers are so far apart. At the beginning of my Audiophile life, I placed my loudspeakers much closer to each other to achieve perfect imaging. In those days, perfect meant to me that you could really see the outline of the different instruments or the exact pinpoint where the singer was standing. And it was really impressive, but there was one problem. The image also became a lot smaller. So over the years I changed to a preference for a 3D image that had a more realistic scale instead of a pinpoint perfect image. But as my system got better throughout the years, I discovered I could have both. So for now, this is the best I could place my loudspeakers in this room. The sound is now completely free, meaning if you close your eyes, you will not be able to point out where the loudspeakers are standing. The music is just in the room, and the freedom from the loudspeakers is really something special. Now the last thing that I did was to treat the acoustics of the room, but that will be for another video. For now, I hope you liked this video, and I will see you next time.